Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Going bell to bell with the best in professional wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's get to all the exciting pro wrestling action and bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
Good morning, everybody. What's going on? Welcome to the Mark Hoke Show. It's the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. And we are live from the KDAWN studios. Of course, also streaming out there on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. If you haven't downloaded it, well, you know what? I don't know what to tell you. Because you should be listening to all of our shows wherever you are. So download that app right now, please. We would certainly appreciate it. Don't miss a thing. It's pretty cool. Of course, we're also streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Of course, the Mark Hoke Show on Facebook and YouTube, and at Mark Hoke Show on X if you would like to join us and interact with the show. We'd love to hear your comments in what ended up being another wild week in professional wrestling. It has been just nonstop action from start to finish, from Sunday to Monday, or Sunday to Sunday. And I'll tell you what, it's not going anywhere. This has been just the lead up to SummerSlam. A lot of AEW news and great matches going on in there. Some wild goings on, even with Ring of Honor. I had Death Before Dishonor this week, Battle of the Belts. We have contracts and people moving around and all sorts of wild stuff happening. And we're going to get into it with you all through the show for the next 2 hours. Hour number 2, we're going to have Chris Doc-Mueller from Bleacher Report joining us. Of course, he does those unbelievable summaries. He and Eric Beeston, just unbelievable what they do over there at BR. And we're going to be very excited to have him on the show. And we're very happy to have you joining us on the live stream wherever you are. So let's just dive right into it, shall we? Because there's a little bit of controversy around the AEW TV deals. If you haven't heard about this, supposedly an agreement had been reached in principle between AEW and Warner Brothers Discovery to get everything rolling. No ink on the paper yet, but Tony Khan is insisting that WWE PR is leaking things, that it's not a done deal yet. They're still working on it. So back off. That was what he said at the presser before Death Before Dishonor. But from what we do know, and this is, I think, really great news for everybody, that it does look like they are going to be getting Max involved in this. So HBO Max would be involved in this AEW TV deal. And from what we're hearing, Tony's going to make a lot of money. And that should definitely put AEW in a much better position in the future and secure them for a long time. Of course, a lot of people out there, there's I don't know why people want AEW to fail. But apparently some of them do. And, well, I got some bad news for you. This deal is going to be going through fairly soon. And if that gets on Max, that is, to me, the big piece of this puzzle for AEW. Because right now they don't really have any place to put their content. So all of the AEW content for 5 years now would go up on Max. Plus you'd be doing the pay-per-views on Max. So all everybody has to do is get a Max subscription, just like WWE is doing with Peacock. So it saves everybody a lot of money, and you don't get intimidated by spending the $50 or $60. So they're going to do bigger numbers. They're going to get more viewers. Plus, it's going to give Ring of Honor a home, too, even though Tony was actually talking about the possibility that ROH could get its own show. They're working on that. And that would be nice. I know that Kerry Silken, who had formerly been running Ring of Honor, was very critical about how ROH has been handled. And rightfully so. I think a lot of people a little bit disappointed that while ROH has been up on Honor Club and so on, that people would like it to be more accessible, and it's just kind of felt like an appendage to AEW. And Tony even mentioned that, he'd like to rebrand it AEW Ring of Honor. Pull it under the family, and I think you put it's not really going to be totally like an NXT where it's completely developmental, but I think it would be a great place to start. And when you have a huge roster like AEW does, and supposedly they're spending like $4 million a week, you got to give them something to do. And you're seeing some terrific wrestling going on like we did at Death Before Dishonor. So giving Ring of Honor a home, for those of us that really did love Ring of Honor, I think would be terrific. It's not quite the same, but still you've got a lot of ROH alumni there that you can flash them in and out and do some neat things like they did at Battle of the Belts on Saturday night, where we saw some new champions finally crowned. Nobody ever wins a belt at Battle of the Belts. Titles never change hands there. It's so weird. But finally one did. And by the way, Coach Rosie in the chat box saying good morning, Hokeites. Good to see you, Coach Rosie. But this is a very interesting situation for AEW. So we're going to keep an eye on it, of course, and keep fingers crossed that deal's going to get announced soon. And boy, would that be great if they got it done before All In at the end of August, and we could pop All In on Max. Cross the fingers. But there was a lot that happened this week in AEW, and I kind of want to get through that before we get into SummerSlam, as obviously SummerSlam coming up on Saturday. So we'll be bracing ourselves for the biggest party of the summer. And actually got a question in the chat box. I'll get this real quick. Jesse Hyde in the chat box saying, do you think the New Japan Stardom will regret their partnership with AEW now that WWE's Japan return is a success with the news of Meiko Satomura retirement and a possible PLE in the Tokyo Dome? No. We talked about that a little bit, the New Japan situation with AEW and how their talent seemed to be getting rated. And, I think TNA is in a similar spot with WWE. But no, I don't think so. I think that with this new TV deal, they're going to be okay. They'll be all right. Look, everybody can work with everybody at this point. All bets are off. So we'll see how all of it turns out. But I think it is. But that is an interesting point to see where all that's going to end up. But we go to first on Wednesday, Blood and Guts. For those that don't know what blood and guts is, no, there's no greasy, grimy gopher guts or mutilated monkey meat. But some people did get mutilated, that is for sure. Oh, poor Max Caster. Oh, thumbtacks in the mouth and got super kicked. Ouch. And a lot of other nasty things happening to everybody. But the Blood and Guts match featuring Team AEW against the Team Elite goes to Team AEW in a very interesting finish. And I don't know how to feel about this. The Blood and Guts match, it's in you have two rings set up with the cage around it. So this is, kind of reminds you of the old War Games match if you've never seen the Blood and Guts match before. Two people start, one person from one team goes in, and you alternate. Even though Hangman Adam Page decided when it was his turn to go in, and last he waited until he could beat up Swerve Strickland, who was the last guy in from Team AEW. That started a little fracas outside the ring. As Swerve got handcuffed outside the ring by Hangman Adam Page. Those handcuffs came in handy. The Elite brought those in along with staple guns, and oh my God. Yeah, Swerve apparently doesn't get bothered by staple guns. I can't describe it on the air. It's too much. You just need to go back and watch the match. But the end of the match, the scapegoat Jack Perry gets handcuffed to a wall of one of the sides of the cage. Matt Jackson from the Young Bucks is also handcuffed to a rope. And they are beating the living snot out of Jack Perry with kendo sticks, etc. And Jack is refusing to quit, being the tough guy that he is. Well, Darby Allin, in a throwback to Double or Nothing, goes and gets a can of gasoline and dumps it all over him. Has a lighter and tells Matt Jackson, you either quit and give me a match with Jack Perry at All In for the TNT title, or it is scapegoat flambe. And Matt Jackson surrendered. So, a pretty wild and brutal affair. Coach Rosie in chat says it was graphic. Yes, it was. Folks, this is either your kind of match where you like to see a lot of nasty stuff happen to people's bodies, or you don't. But that's the blood and guts match. The interesting part to me about blood and guts at this point is getting old. Is it getting old? Yeah, and Jesse, the chair shot too. Yeah, Jack Perry did take an unexposed chair shot while he was handcuffed to the cage, to the melon. They usually don't do that anymore. But is the blood and guts match kind of getting a little passé? You know, this is an every year tradition for them. But how much more can you do? And this is something that we've talked about on the show before, that when you have matches like these, you have to do different things to make the next version of it bigger and badder. Where are you going to go? Man, I mean, guys getting sandwiched between two boards of barbed wire and, you know, the kendo sticks, and Swerve Strickland getting attacked with staple guns and holding, and then just like shaking it off. And I mean, just some brutal, brutal spots in this match. I don't know what more you're going to do, because now you threaten to set a guy on fire. And of course, Double or Nothing, they did set Jack Perry on fire in the Anarchy in the Arena match. Now, they set that up really well, did the spot safely, but still, you're lighting a dude on fire. I don't quite know how everybody's going to top that next year. So it's a pretty difficult spot. I don't know. I mean, there were good spots and fun spots in there, but there were also spots that it makes you cringe. And, you know, I don't know where they're going to take it, but that was blood and guts. That night also, Camille makes her debut. Of course, the former NWA Women's Champion is now the bodyguard, friend, pal of Mercedes Moné, and she knocked Britt Baker out. And then at Comic-Con, they finally got their match settled, so they're going to officially meet for the TBS title at All In. So that was that one. So a pretty interesting night. Of course, MJF changed the international title to the American title. A little bit of a response to Will Ospreay doing that to the United States, the Japan and New Japan U.S. title, and when he changed it to the UK title. Will can't say a whole lot about that, can he? USA, baby. So that feud rolls on. I'm still not sure who's going to be in the taking MJF on for the whatever I'm sure it's still the international title, but is it going to be Daniel Garcia? Is it going to be Will Ospreay? We'll find out. Coming up about a month. I think we're a month away from AEW All In Wembley Stadium, so that's going to be some quality entertainment. Then we had Death Before. Actually, well, it's a tape show, but Darby Allin wins a spot for or a championship match at Grand Slam on September 25th at Arthur Ashe Stadium as he wins the Royal Rampage And he gets a little bit of revenge on Brody King from that choke out for a while back. I do love when they do throwbacks. You know, that's one great thing about Tony Khan and his booking. You can criticize it all you want, but he remembers things that he did before. Guys get their revenge. And it's pretty cool. But now Darby Allin's got a world title shot along with this TNT title shot, so Darby's going to be a busy boy. As long as he doesn't, turn himself into the Human Torch or something stupid like that or break something. But a big week for Darby Allin, that is for sure. And then we had Death Before Dishonor on Friday. A wild night there for Ring of Honor, which I think has really kicked up the talk about what AEW should be doing with Ring of Honor. Very, very good card. A lot of people enjoyed it. The M&M collection makes their pay-per-view debut for AEW. Of course, that is Mason Madden and Mansoor. Of course, remember those Maximum Male Models boys? That's them. They wrestle pretty well. Rhea Shafir, a nice match. Top Flight beat the Outrunners, no big deal there. Mortis beat Commander, the Beast Mortis. That dude's a monster. They lost a hologram on Collision, but still. Undisputed Kingdom keeps their tag titles. Layla Hirsch and Diamante. Yikes, Texas Death Match. That one got a little nasty. Those two decided to tear each other apart. Lee Moriarty wins the ROH Pure Championship, taking out Wheeler Yuta. So Lee Moriarty is your new ROH Pure Champion. Red Velvet wins the ROH Women's TV Championship. She beats Billy Starks, who had never defended the title, by the way. That's pretty interesting. But Red Velvet gets a taste of gold in AEW. The Von Erichs and Dustin Rhodes beat the Dark Order. They won a title shot at the vacant six-man titles. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Lannis Jr. holds off Leo Rush, Shane Taylor, Brian Cage, Lee Johnson, and Johnny TV. And the Survival of the Fittest match keeps his ROH TV title. Athena beats Queen Aminata to hold on to the ROH Women's Championship. And Mark Briscoe in a rough match with Roderick Strong, but a great one, keeps the ROH World Championship. And they add Lil J, the baby. Yes, it was a baby. Back in the locker room, is now a part of the conglomeration. But Mark Briscoe remains the Ring of Honor World Champion. But a great card. Didn't hear a bad thing about it for sure. But a terrific night for Ring of Honor. So, good one there. And, of course, now we mentioned that Von Erich and Rhodes situation where they were getting to wrestle for the six-man titles. And we're going to talk about that when we come back. If that doesn't tug at your heartstrings of what happened there, I don't know where you are as a pro wrestling fan, but we'll talk about it when we return here on the Mark Hoke Show, best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. And don't forget Chris Doc-Mueller from Bleacher Report coming up hour 2. Stick around, everybody. We'll be right back.
.101.5 FM KDAWN. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
All right, let's keep things rolling here on the Mark Hoke Show, the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. Thank you for joining us wherever you are on KDAWN, the Odyssey app, or in the chat box as we live stream the show on YouTube, Facebook, and X. We certainly do appreciate all of you tuning into the show, and of course would really appreciate it if you could take a second and subscribe to us on YouTube. Just go to the Mark Hoke Show on YouTube. Just click on that little subscribe button. It says subscribe, and boop, and you bring joy and happiness to the Hoke household. So you want to do that, right? It's Sunday. It's a happy day. It's a little hazy out in Las Vegas. Of course, if you didn't hear, some moron out in California thought it'd be fun to push a car down the side of a hill and, 60-foot drop and, lit part of California on fire, and apparently the smoke's coming into here. So thanks, dullard. But yeah, it's been out here. But it's still a happy place. You can still have fun. Come on down. So, Battle of the Belts last night, we got to see an actual title change hands. There was a battle for belts that a belt moved. I think it's only the second or third time that it's happened on the Battle of the Belts show. But what a great night that was, as Dustin Rhodes and Marshall and Ross Von Erich win the vacant six-man championships as they beat the Undisputed Kingdom. And, of course, they are down there in Arlington right now at that esports arena for a few weeks before they head over to All In. So the boys got to do it in Texas. And if you didn't know, we had Kevin Von Erich on the show a couple months ago. They had all moved back to Texas. So everybody's getting kind of settled in over there. The Von Erichs, I'm guessing now they have, well, maybe they've signed with AEW. Not sure what their deal is for sure. But Dustin, 55 years old, gets his first title in AEW. And does it with the Von Erichs. And if you watched if you got the match and the post-match comments that everybody made, as someone who has been a very long-time wrestling fan, to see the Rhodes and the Von Erichs together, and of course Kevin was on the outside with the boys, what a great moment. For everybody that complains about Tony's booking, and there are some rightful complaints, to put that together and say, let's do this. What a cool moment. What a cool moment. And Dustin has been working so hard and just pushing and pushing and pushing his body to the limit. And just keeps going. I mean, he is wrestling like he's 35. And then to do this with the Von Erichs, who have made it a point, and they said this after the match, that they want to continue Kevin, their father, and their uncle's legacy. All of them. What a great thing for them to do in Ring of Honor and AEW. Couldn't be happy for him. Super happy for Dustin. And like I said, if you don't feel like that is just an amazing, awesome thing for pro wrestling, you have no heart, and you should be, I don't know. Go watch the Olympics opening ceremony again, if you can find it. But what a great night. So congratulations to Dustin Rhodes and the Von Erichs, the new Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions. Long may they reign. There you go. Oh, what a see. Jesse Hyde had another comment in the chat box before I move on to SummerSlam. What do you think of the WBD lawsuit against the NBA to keep the NBA on TNT? And how does that affect AEW to stay on TV and get free agents like Beth, Lashley, MVP, and maybe Becky, but maybe not Becky? We're going to be talking about those free agents in the last segment. But that lawsuit is very interesting. Do I really think it's going to affect AEW that much? No. David Laszlo, I don't know what that guy's doing, because that is a tremendous mistake for them not to get that deal done with the NBA and just have that settled before it could go to Amazon. I mean, what a dumb move. But I don't think that really, it could actually help AEW to a point. Because if they're losing the NBA, they want live sports. So, could be a plus for Tony, actually. But, we'll see. On to SummerSlam. 2 new matches are on the cards, kids. Of course, we're on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN. Braun Breaker will get another shot at the Intercontinental Championship. He will square off with Sami Zayn on Saturday night out there at the Cleveland Browns Stadium. Isn't that interesting that they're going to be doing it in the dog pound? Have a feeling that Sami will not be evading the power of Braun Breaker this time. Looking forward, I think, to a new Intercontinental Champion, but should be a lot of fun. The interesting part on Sami's side is that he has just been lamenting that nobody gives him the respect, that he's all tired of being considered the underdog. Why? Well, look at Braun Breaker. Well, of course, look at Gunther. It would be, shall we say, a shocker if Braun does not win this match. I think it's time for the coronation. WWE could pull a curveball, though. Maybe somebody doesn't want Braun to win that Intercontinental title. I don't know who that person might be. But Ilya Dragunov sure can't be happy after the beating he took about a week ago. So we'll keep an eye on Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker. That one's added. But this one that is added in as well, it's time. It is time. And I hope my friend Bruce Bruffer does not sue me for copyright infringement on that. Punk and McIntyre with Rollins as the guest referee. Punk has been cleared, so Punk and McIntyre will face off at SummerSlam. The question is, when it comes to this match, is this the main event? These guys in the chat box, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this because I'm going to ask Doc-Mueller this one. Is this the main event of SummerSlam? You have World Championship matches, and I'm sure you're going to get a tag team title match now with what happened on SmackDown. But is this truly the match that should go on last at SummerSlam? I think so. That's one of the great things about WWE right now is that you have so much great talent and they're doing a terrific job booking in this company that it's hard to really decide what a main event is. It normally should be a world championship. You got Cody defending against Solo Sikoa with a bloodline thing going on. Right? I mean, you could make an argument that the Rhea Ripley Liv Morgan match is a true main event. But given what these two have been doing to each other and that they have completely overshadowed Cody Rhodes right now, I hate to say it, but they have. I think this is the main event of SummerSlam. I could be wrong. Not the first time. But this match is going to be very intriguing. I'm sure it won't be the last. But these two guys just keep going and going. And, of course, very interesting that Drew put up a picture of him and Jack Perry on Twitter and then pulled it down real quick. They coordinated that. But still, pretty funny stuff. But as long as Punk doesn't break, that one is going to be off the charts. The crowd is going to be going nuts. Drew might get booed out of the building. I don't know. We'll see how many Punkamaniacs are out there. But that is going to be a wild one coming up at SummerSlam. But yeah, so if you think that's the main event or if you think it's not, then let me know. I said we'll talk to Chris Doc-Mueller from Bleacher Report in hour number 2 about that. And, of course, other great matches coming up on SummerSlam. And pulling my list here real quick just to remind myself. There's a list. Damian Priest defending against Gunther. What happened to this? This match has disappeared. to a point. I mean, they're brawling out, they're doing their thing, but nobody's talking about it. No one's talking about a world championship match. Bayley and Nia Jax, had a tag match on SmackDown this week involving her and Tiffany Stratton. But Bayley gets Nia Jax for the WWE Women's Championship. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, like we said, that one's going to be. Is it a Dom on a pole match? Well, Dom said he hates Liv. Poor Liv. But I got to give Liv credit. Boy, did she look great. Yeah. Yep. But Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Liv defending the Women's World Championship against Rhea Ripley. Cody Rhodes, Solo Sikoa for the undisputed WWE Championship. Obviously a bloodline battle there. But I still think it's overshadowed by Drew and Punk. But Cody Rhodes, Solo Sikoa on the card. Logan Paul and LA Knight for the U.S. Championship, and then we have that Intercontinental title match as well. And I think, once again, I talked about this last week, but this is a big match for LA Knight. Boy, I hope he doesn't lose this match. This would be a tough loss for LA Knight. Unless they do something that they want to drag this out a little bit more, but this should be a championship night for LA Knight. I think that they've just put him in such a weird place, and without giving him some sort of gold, it would hurt him too bad. Looks like Alexis White's in the chat box says, does Roman return at SummerSlam? Oh, there's a debate going on about that. I think he does. But I did see Eric Bischoff out there saying, nope, hold him back. I see both sides of the argument. I really do. You just keep dragging this out. But that's one thing that I think is hurting Cody at this point, is when you have this Roman Reigns and The Rock kind of hanging over Cody, it is really putting Cody kind of off to the side a little bit. Because when you're talking about the bloodline, you're not talking about Cody versus the bloodline. Everybody's talking about, when's Roman coming back? When's Roman going to beat up Solo? No one's worried about what's going on with Cody. So I think I would pull the trigger. I would, just to get that out of the way and clear the board for Cody a little bit. Because this has been putting him down, and I don't know. It's a tough spot for Cody Rhodes. Tough spot. So at SummerSlam Saturday night should be great, and then we're going to get to talk about it here on the show on Sunday next week, which is actually our anniversary show. 3 years doing this show. Of course, I've been did my poker show for a very long time too. But it'll be our 3-year anniversary show, so we hope you'll join us for that. And we'll be talking SummerSlam, and we'll see who all we can dig up to come on the show. But by the way, I just saw a comment from Coach Rosie talking about the blood and guts match, saying monkey meat. Funny. But anyway, stick around, everybody. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we have that question in the chat box about contracts. Funny you should mention that, because that was on my radar today. A lot of people could be moving around and making some big impacts in different companies. Stick around. We've got a whole lot more on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. And don't forget, Chris Doc-Mueller coming up from Bleacher Report. We'll be right back.
101.5 FM KDAWN. You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
And let's keep this going. I'll tell you, what a great time to be a pro wrestling fan. And we've got it all covered for you here on The Mark Hoke Show on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. streaming around the world on the Odyssey app. Download it right now, AUDACY. Enjoy my show, shows like Sports X Radio, which I produce, Steve Sanchez show, and many others on that Odyssey app. And, of course, we're also live streaming the show as well. We love to hear from you about what you think about what's happening in pro wrestling. We love interacting with the show. It's great when we get questions. Always fun to respond to the fans. And, don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. And, of course, give us the follows there on X, Facebook. I'm also out there on Instagram, TikTok. I'm still working on kind of getting all of it together. I'm a one-man operation right now, so keeping pretty busy. But we had one person in the chat box bring up some contracts, and there is a lot of interesting happenings going on the contract side. Buddy Matthews re-signs with AEW, and he was about ready to walk. But apparently Tony made him an offer he could not refuse, and he is staying with AEW. That contract for Buddy was supposedly, well, they said it was pretty big. He was very happy. Very lucrative was the quote. So Buddy Matthews is going to stay, of course, a member of the House of Black. And I do think a ton of potential for him. So I'm pretty excited for him to stay, even though that does keep him away from his beloved bride, Rhea Ripley. But Buddy Matthews hanging around. Keith Lee, his contract is coming up with AEW. What does Keith Lee do? Because, boy, I'll tell you, they sure haven't used him very much. And I would imagine WWE would love to have him back. But I almost wonder, that would almost have been a slam dunk to me if it wasn't for the fact that there's a couple guys out there in WWE that may be looking to go to AEW, and those people are Bobby Lashley and MVP. Because apparently they want to reform the Hurt Business. Shelton Benjamin is very interested in signing with AEW, and they want to, as best they can, put that back together. Would you enjoy a Hurt Business, a new one, with Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and Keith Lee? Just an idea. But I could imagine, and of course Keith's been hurt too. He's had a shocking amount of injury problems, but hopefully Keith's doing well. But I would welcome that stable. My God, could you imagine Bobby Lashley and Keith Lee working together? Oh! But apparently Triple H not willing to make a comment about it. But I wouldn't blame Bobby for leaving. I mean, that poor guy has just not gotten, I think, the treatment that he's deserved recently. Now, in the past, of course, been a world champion. But it just seems like at times he's gotten shoved aside. And I think Lashley deserves better than that. And, the Hurt Business being broken up was a bad decision. Said that the minute it happened. So putting that back together, I think, would be a great idea. Also, off the WWE roster page is Beth Phoenix. Of course, the wife of Adam Copeland. She's still on the WWE Hall of Fame page, but Beth Phoenix's contract is out, which means she is now available to go to AEW. Boy, would that spice up the AEW women's division even more than it is. And get a great veteran presence in there, too. I really thought Natty, I understand why she didn't go, but I would have loved to see Natty headed over to AEW. But Beth Phoenix popping up in there? That'd be all right. I'll take it. Can't imagine she wouldn't want to work with her husband. So Beth Phoenix is a free agent right now. We'll see what she does. Tamina, of course, the daughter of Jimmy Superfly Snuka, is apparently off the WWE internal roster. Does Tamina head over to AEW? I think another person that has been criminally underused in WWE. I don't know what everybody's problem with Tamina is. I'm not there. Don't know. But Tamina, waiting for her contract to run out apparently, but it looks like WWE is not going to be bringing her back. That would be a terrific legacy sign for Tony Khan as well. I would not object to having her come over to AEW. And another very interesting story also coming out of WWE, that Omos. There is a story that I read on Cultaholic, and I have to see who actually, if they did it or somebody else put that out. But the storyline said that WWE gives up on Omos. He has not had a televised match, a singles match, since he lost to Seth Rollins at Backlash in May of 2023. Omos, the Nigerian Giant, the one that got a WrestleMania match with Brock Lesnar in LA at WrestleMania 39, has not been on TV in a singles match since 2023 of May. That's incredible. And that is a really sad thing to me, because while I and then we talk about people getting developed on the show a lot, and being careful with somebody like a Jade Cargill, for example. But when you have someone the size of an Omos, it's very tricky to get it right. And how many times have we seen these giant men be brought in and they just can't get it done? So, I don't think that's the case with him. I think that they just rushed it. I think they pushed him too fast. He needed some time. They should have let him go in NXT, work with him more before they pushed him up on the main roster. And he did generally what they asked him to do, but you could just tell it wasn't there. But he was improving. But they had just relegated him to house shows. He had been out on the house show tour, wrestling Odyssey Jones and Tozawa. Boy, what a shame that is. Because what a dominant man. But it's hard to book a guy like that too. You got to have a realistic matchup for the guy. So you've really got to be putting him in with some pretty good guys. So he's got to be able to go. So pretty disappointing result for Omos. Now, maybe AEW decides to try to work with him. How about him and Satnam Singh? It wouldn't be the most agile tag team of all time, but they'd be fun. Good luck. But it is very hit or miss with those big men. So I just don't know what they're going to do. We'll see what WWE decides to do with Omos. And also, before we head out, Meiko Satomura, the Japanese legend, has announced her retirement, and she has been out there on this WWE tour of Japan that they're doing. Teaming with Bayley, and I believe that she did get a shot at Bayley's Women's Championship last night. Obviously did not win, but she'll be wrapping up her 30-plus year career in the spring of 2025, so right around WrestleMania time. Amazing woman. So there you go. That's all your contract stuff. Hope I covered all that for you. Hey, guess what? When we come back, hour number 2. Oh, I can't wait. Chris Doc-Mueller from Bleacher Report is going to be joining us. Awesome dude. Great writer. Thrilled to have him on the show. So stick around for hour 2. And, of course, don't forget to follow us on X at Mark Hoke Show, Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show, YouTube, The Mark Hoke Show, markhokeshow.com. We're everywhere, baby. So catch us hour 2 and give us that subscribe on YouTube. We'd appreciate it. We'll be back. Hour 2 coming up.
Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join The Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.